Oh, look at this! Hey, it's Brian Mudd. This is my cheat sheet for Friday, December 7th. All nice and comfortable. Even kicked my legs up. And all because of a local inventor. This is actually a product, the Weasel, from a company, Midco. They sent this to me. They're from Boca. They sent this to me earlier in the week. And look at this. It's enabling me to relax during the cheat sheet. All right, so a couple things here real quick. The stock market is not priced for recession. Increasingly, I'm getting notes from people that are worried about their portfolios. The one thing that I've got to tell you about my involvement in guiding you or providing information on the stock market is that I'm not a licensed financial advisor in Florida, and that's a former life. Now, I'm more than happy to tell you the general themes that I believe you need to consider, and I'm happy telling you when I think things are a good opportunity and when they make me nervous. From there, you need to get in touch with your own financial advisor. Now, I did throw out a number of down 11,700, about 3 weeks ago? But that was based upon the tax proposals by the president. You see, if we have to pay higher taxes on dividends and capital gains, necessarily the same investments aren't worth as much, right? Because the return on investment isn't as high. And so when I said Dow 11,700, that was based upon that day's Dow Jones Industrial Average with the higher taxes. That didn't factor in the fiscal cliff, and that didn't factor in recession. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Short term, the stock market is an emotional game. So I'm not going to pinpoint any particular price for you, but here's what I want you to consider. I can tell you right now that the United States equity markets are not priced to go over the fiscal cliff, and they're not priced for recession, which, by the way, in my opinion, the two are linked. If we go over the fiscal cliff, we're in recession. For that matter, I think we already might be in a period of economic decline right now, but we have to have 6 consecutive months of economic decline before you have a recession on your hands. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have money that you're going to need short term over the next year, maybe 2 years, that's currently in the stock market, I think you need to be having serious conversations with your financial advisor and making sure that you have your interests protected. I wouldn't, for example, want you to have money that you're counting on to buy a home over the next couple of years in the stock market, and then the bottom falls out if something goes awry, which at this point, it's anybody's guess whether we get fiscal cliff resolution, and it's anybody's guess what that policy looks like, which may or may not be worse than going over the cliff. So you've got to consider those things, but the biggest thing is to protect the money you have now and not take short-term risk with short-term money. Cheat sheet, something I wanted to introduce to you. A lot of folks will send me emails on stuff that Jim and I talk about any given day, stuff that I talk about in the cheat sheet. I want to formalize this. I would like you, if you have ideas that you've wanted me to investigate for the cheat sheet, to start sending them to me. By the start of the new year, I anticipate having something where you'll be able to do it right on my cheat sheet, a little form to just put in your topics and your requests. But I'll be happy. I'm going to make it a goal to take at least one of your topics every day and use that as one of my investigative pieces for the cheat sheet. I found that there are a lot of good questions, and in a time of so much uncertainty, I want to try to find answers to relevant questions that you have. So you can send me an email. You'll find my email address, which is brianmudd@clearchannel.com, on my cheat sheet itself. And email, always the better way. You call me, you get the voicemail of death, and I don't get the majority of those calls. So if you need me to talk to you, I do that sometimes too. Send me an email. Send me your contact information. The Cliff Who Stole Christmas. Well, looky here. We did get the huge sales numbers over Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday, all that, right? And that almost confused what the retail picture was looking like after all. But not anymore. We have seen the sales levels come back down to earth. The October retail sales numbers were terrible. The first half of November was terrible. And then we had a blowout final weekend. Well, I thought the National Retail Federation was way off on their prediction that retail sales would be up more than 4% for this year, and it's looking increasingly like it's that case. Now that we've arrived at a point to where many people are either more than halfway through their holiday shopping or completed, we just got a downward revision in the average amount that we're planning on spending for the holidays this year. The number, $742. Why is that significant? Because the average person spent $740 last year. In other words, we're only planning on spending $2 more per person at this point than we did last year, which is 0.2% of an increase. 0.2% of an increase over last year. Now, that's what we say. Oftentimes what we say and what we do isn't the exact same thing. But is there any way in the world that we're going to post sales of 4% or greater year over year? Absolutely not. And that, again, is why I was not optimistic about that forecast from the very beginning. And it's super important because as we take a look at this very slow growth economy, and we're worried about the fiscal cliff and worried about entering recession, we really were counting on retail sales to carry this quarter to try to keep us out of a possible economic decline in the early part of next year. It looks like that's not going to be an option, which makes the fiscal cliff issue that much more important. One other thing I'm going to leave you with, and there's plenty more on the physical cheat sheet today. If you've been looking to start a business, the idea of crowdsourcing has really begun to take off. Kickstarter was the most popular site, and to date it's raised going on $400 million for individual businesses. There are now 8 new sites that are out there for crowdsourcing. They're all legitimate places for you to be able to raise money and have the opportunity, in some cases, for you to kind of take some of the concepts that are out there and maybe be able to utilize them in your community. There are all types of different things. They've even got crowdsourcing sites now for local musicians, so that if you're a fan of a local musician and you want them to be able to play at a place that you like going to, maybe it's a restaurant or something, you could sit there and crowdsource and donate the money in the community to get them to be able to afford to play at a local venue. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? And that's what crowdsourcing is. It's the community, friends, family, whomever coming together, donating money towards the goal, the business idea, online. Pretty neat. Cheat sheet for today. Enjoy yours, and we shall see you on Monday.